Hi everyone, and welcome to part 4 in a series of videos that I'm doing from a trip across Newfoundland my friends and I did on ATVs in September of 2018. On this particular day, we went from Badger to Deer Lake. This is one of the nicest days of our entire trip, and we always look forward to this day. First, we stop at an old granite quarry. Then a short distance from there is the Gaff Topsail. It's a mountain you can drive your ATV almost to the very top of, which is about 1,800 feet up. Then we stop just outside of Howley on some beautiful beaches. We usually have a barbecue there. Then we stop at a dam outside of Deer Lake. And finally, we stop at our motel in Deer Lake for the night. Nothing like starting the day with a homemade breakfast. Howie made us up some hash browns and moose sausage. You know, this day is only about 100 kilometers, which is about 60 miles. So we weren't exactly in a rush when we decided to get on the trail that morning. We stopped for gas like we usually do, and Bruce noticed he had a tear in one of his boots on his front of his Commander on the front left wheel, so it took a few minutes to patch that up before we got on the road. As soon as you leave Badger heading west, the trail's a little rough and there's quite a few whoops, but this section here that I videoed is not like that. This is in nice shape. Except for a little bit of trail dust. And I've mentioned that on my blog and on other videos in the past. If you guys are traveling in groups, when it's dusty like this, you have to spread out a bit, but we don't like to travel too far apart because we like to be able to keep everyone in sight, and or at least the person in front of us and behind us, to make sure that no one has any breakdowns that we're unaware of and that type of thing. But a full-faced helmet and a dust mask, really helps in this type of trail driving. This is the entrance to the granite quarry, our first major stop of the day. It's too bad in the background on the rocks, people have started spray painting all over them in the last few years.
Hey, you guys go by the Gaff? Oh no, they're pulling in. Oh, did they? One of our group? Oh, Howie went right up to the top.
Here's the granite quarry on the map, and as you can see, the Gaff Topsail is not too far. It's about 7 kilometers away. That's the very beginning of the trail, and it's about a 700 or 800 meter ride in to get to the top, or as far as you can go anyway. And it's kind of steep, but it's not too bad at all.
So did Dale. I'll see you guys at the top.
The two side-by-sides that are coming up the hill behind me are the Shaw family from Nova Scotia. They did the trip the same time we did this year, so we ran into them several times on the trail. And they had told me that they used my website and my YouTube videos to plan their trip across the island.
Up here in some places. Dug out.
This is truly a place that you have to see in person if you do this trip. If you go across Newfoundland, do not miss the Gaff Topsail. It might look nice in these videos or the pictures, but you really can't appreciate how pretty it is here until you're there in person. And pretty much every person that I've met that's done the trip and saw any of my videos beforehand or pictures, they all say the same thing. The cell signal at the top of this mountain here is fantastic, and I've seen people FaceTiming people back home or sending pictures and videos to Facebook to show people the trip they're on from up here.
What were you saying? Yeah.
We went back to our favorite part of the beach. We got out our gas stoves and our tables, barbecued up some moose meat, and just enjoyed the beach and the water until we decided we wanted to head to the hotel. The hotel's about an hour away from here. You can tell they had a really dry summer in Newfoundland this year because of how far down the water line is from the trees. Other years I've done this trip, the water's almost right up to the trees, and we couldn't travel nearly as far as we did on this day along the beach. Here's a video from a few years ago showing you just how close the water gets. The water was out from there about 100 feet or more this year. We decided to pick the pace up here quite a bit just because the sun was starting to set, and we usually don't like to drive after dark, even though we all have LED lights. This section of trail here is actually not rail bed, it's a bypass trail that goes around the dam that's in Deer Lake. Because it was getting late, we decided to skip the dam and head on to the hotel. But here's some pictures and videos from another year when we stopped in at the dam earlier in the day. Shortly after you leave the dam, if you're heading into Deer Lake, you've got two options. You can take the rail bed all the way into town, or you can take a second trail which goes along the water, right along the lake, this orange one. That's the one we usually take. Both of them will take you right to your hotel.
Oh, maybe.
This is the Driftwood Inn, and there's a Jungle Jim's restaurant, which is very good, by the way, that's also attached, which is convenient for supper. And we spent the night here, and the next day we got up, of course, and left early, and it was pouring rain the next day. You'll see in the next video. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching. As always, if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button down below. I would appreciate it, and that way you get notified of any new videos that I upload. Tomorrow's trip, we leave Deer Lake and we head all the way to Corner Brook, with a few stops at the Lowman Sinkhole, Cox's Cove, Manuel's, and a few other places as well.